Hi, welcome to Bellwether's Purchasing and Inventory Software for Credit Unions. Over the years, Bellwether has helped many credit unions actually automate their paper processes. This is going to save time, money, and you're going to be able to see purchases in real time, inventory in real time, track your budgets, track by branches, track by projects, everything you need in one software. So let's take a look. So this is our login page when you come into Bellwether. Now, you're going to assign folks different duties. So when they come in here, they're going to have the ability to go ahead and put in what they need to. Let's start out first at requisitions. Now, you can either start at requisitions or start them at POs. Completely up to you. Let's do requisitions first here. So when I come into requisitions, this is going to show me all the requisitions that I've created and where they're in the process. I'm able to see open orders, rejected orders, canceled orders, and I can even search by order number or vendor. So let's start with a new order here. So when I come into our new order, I'm going to come directly into the items field. You'll notice I have a drop-down list. This is actually your personal catalog to store all items and services that you're always ordering. And what you'll start doing is just type in what you want to find in that catalog. And then once you do, you'll choose. Now you notice when I do that, my vendor and my GL account automatically populated. We can tie those to items to make it easier for everyone. So they auto-populate, and then all the users have to do is put in a delivery date and a ship to and the quantity. You can also store pricing in your catalogs as well and update it whenever you want. Now for some additional information, you notice I have two fields in the middle here. These are custom fields. You can have as many as you want and put budgets on them, which is great. A lot of our credit unions actually do either location, department, or branches if you want. And what we'll do is we'll put a drop-down list in. They can choose any of those. And you can even have a budget on it as well. So you can always keep track of what your branches are doing, what your departments are doing. You also have the ability up here in the GL accounts to put a budget as well. And then also you can have any additional fields like projects, grants. These could be drop-down, free-form, anything you need. And again, any budgets on those. And then I'm just going to add that to the order. Now, if I come into the items field and I can't find what I'm looking for, maybe it's a new item or service I've never purchased, I do have the ability to put in a one-time item for this requisition, or if I have permission, add it to the catalog permanently. Let's put a one-time item here. Now, with a requisition, what's nice, each line can be for a different vendor, different coding. It really doesn't matter. So say we needed to get some monitors. We can do it for Dell this time. The quantity, unit of measure, and then what are the price on those. Now, again, you could change any of this if you need to, or if everything's the same, just add it to the list. So there's two items. Now, if I was coming into the items field and, maybe I needed to get paper plates, whatever description you want to put in here. Now, the plates I'm not going to order from Dell, so I can actually come into my vendor drop-down list, which are all your vendors that are imported, and you can always update it anytime, and just choose a different vendor. Choose a different delivery date. Maybe a different GL code, and it could be even a different department, location, or branch. And then how many of those do you need? And the price on those, and add it to the order. So I have 3 line items. 2 are for the same vendor, and then 1 isn't. That's the nice thing about on requisitions. Think of it as a wish list. You, requester, can put everything they need on this request. And then when it's approved, or if it's approved, combine all the different line items for the same vendor and create one PO. And I'll show you that as we go along. Now on these, they can also put any internal notes, any purchase order notes, attach anything, any freight or discounts, and also taxes. I know there's a lot of exempt, so we can even put that in there too. And then they simply come up top and hit submit. This creates the requisition, the next number in line, and it routes it on for approval automatically. Now, another way to create a requisition or a PO is from online vendors. I know a lot of our credit union folks use Dell, CDW, Amazon. So this is a great way to actually put those requests together. We call it Create Request from Punchout. You'll come into the vendors field, and you'll have all your vendors listed here, and you choose your vendor and then hit vendor website. This will actually punch you out of Bellwether onto the online vendor under your account. So if you have discounts or anything like that, now nothing needs to be changed on your side. All your users do is start adding items to the cart that they want to request. Keep in mind, if you're going to do an approval process or anything like that, they can't just go and purchase it unless they have the permission to do so. So let's add another chair in here. So I have my cart subtotal, and I'm ready. I don't need anything else. I'm going to hit submit these items for approval. What it's doing is now bringing me back into Bellwether, and it created the line items from every item that was in the cart. The only thing I have to fill out is a delivery date, ship to, GL accounts. In this aspect, if folks don't know it, don't worry. You can always put it in later or give them the ability. If it's wrong, you can always change it. And again, I'm going to use one of those custom fields. Now, you still have the ability for any attachments or internal notes, any purchase order notes, and any freight or taxes. And then all I'm going to do is save this. And once again, it created my requisition. I know it's from a punch-out vendor by the asterisk behind it. So now those requisitions are going on for approval. There's a couple different ways that approvers are notified. One, you'll see right here, it tells you if you're in the system, I have 7 approvals that I need to actually attend to. But also, you get notifications like this. So it's going to tell you when the rec was created, by who, how many line items need approval in the total, and if there's one vendor, it'll say the vendor name. Now, right from email, without even logging into the system, you can do what we call an auto approve. This is going to give you all the line item detail and the price. If that's all you need, you can just hit approve right here, and you're finished with it. It could move on to another level, and we can do approval levels as many as you need, and threshold, item, however you want to arrange those. Now I can also come into my approval screen here too. So this gives me line item information here. And also, if I want to open it up a little farther, hit view requisition. If there's any pictures in the catalog, they'll be on each line. But notice it color codes budget. So I can tell what's accumulated, what's pending, and what we budgeted for. Those budgets will show on any of the fields that are set up to have budgets. This way, it alerts the approvers right there. Now, if this was over budget, there would be a red button there that says over budget to draw my attention to it. And it does it for each line. And if there's any additional notes or attachments, they could be seen on this too. We call it our bird's eye view. So you could view them from this screen, or from your email. Now, we could go along, since I've already looked at those and checked them off that we've gotten everything. We're going to let them go ahead, and I'm just going to come up here and hit approve. Now, if you do reject anything, I suggest you send it back with notes to let the requester know why it got rejected. This way, they do have the choice to leave it rejected or fix it resubmit it through the approval chain. Now, once it goes through the entire approval process, now it's ready to be created PO. This could be done by your requesters. This could be done by a specific department. Really, it doesn't matter how you do the workflow. It really just depends on how you're set up. So when doing the POs, if I'm one that's going to be doing one, I'm going to get an alert like I did for the requisition itself for approval. I'll get that for a purchase order, but I can always come into the purchase orders here. This screen shows every single requisition that's already been approved. So it won't hit this screen unless it's gone through the approval process. This way something doesn't go out by mistake. So let's take this Amazon one. So I'm going to order this. Now, if I have other Amazons, I can combine them all together. And what I'm going to do is just come up top, and I'm going to hit Create PO from Punchout. It has everything that I want. And here, if you need to make any adjustments before you send this out, you certainly can. But what you're going to do is save and push that out. But notice I got a little error here. It actually tells you if you're missing something, which is great. So I'm just going to come back into my details here and put that ship to in. And I'm going to make sure I put a date in there too. And then I'm going to save and push it out. And I'm going to send it. I just placed the order with Amazon, and I never had to log on to Amazon's website. I did it all through Bellwether. Now, for those vendors that don't have that punch-out feature offered to their clients, well, then you can either email them or send it over, but you're going to do the same thing. So let's take another one down here. Actually, let's grab this one. So notice I have two different vendors on a requisition. So now if I had another Office Max, or if I had another Costco somewhere, I could combine them all together and send them as one. And what I'm going to do is, again, just come up top, create the PO. Same screens. If I need to make any adjustments here, I certainly can. And this time, I'm going to save and send it out. When I click on to send to, it automatically gives me my vendor, and I'm going to hit send. I just sent that PO out. So if I come back into my POs, here's the one that I just emailed to the vendor. It says send to the vendor. Here's the one I placed the order on Amazon. It says vendor received. Any of the ones that you email out, when the vendor opens it, this sent to vendor will turn green as vendor received. So this way you can always track where are things. Did they get it? Did they open it? Now our next step would then be receiving. So when items come in, you can designate whoever you want for receiving, and you'll come into the receiving screen here. Now you can filter by different branches, things like that, by folks, anything you need here. Delivery dates, projects, locations, PO numbers, ship to, vendors, a lot of different ways. But this screen here shows you everything that is outstanding. So when you get your PO in, you're going to check, and it'll have all the line items for those POs. All I'm looking at as a receiver is this number. Right here, the first number is what is on the PO. If you've received all of it, perfect, check it off. Now, if you're using inventory as well, you're going to put that into inventory. There's going to be a drop-down list of the inventories to choose from. So you're going to receive it and put it into inventory at the same time. And also, if you want to attach anything or maybe put a packing slip in or something like that, you certainly can before you hit receive. Now, you can also do partial orders. So, for example, this one. This was part of a PO that had several other line items on it. When I originally got this line in, I ordered 10 but only got 5, which left 5 outstanding. So the system is always going to track what is outstanding for you, so you never have to do it. And also, anything overdue. You don't even have to run a report. This shows me all of the overdue items from what PO, from what vendor. So you have the PO number, the vendor, the item, the description, when it was due, and how many are still owed. So it just saves some time that you don't even have to run a report on that. Now, when the items are received and they go into inventory, that creates your inventory list here. So you can name items whatever you want, their descriptions, locations, you can have several. And they could even be projects too. It'll track your quantity on hand as well as your minimum maximum. Now what we could do on this is set a minimum so that the system automatically alerts you when you're running low on something. And you can either just go back and start it over by maybe copying over a requisition or use the reorder port here. This actually tells you what is overdue. And you can put in here how many you need. You can check off as many items as you want or do them one at a time, completely up to you, and then create the requisition from here. Now I can even go and add additional items onto here. And it already has my vendor in here. I'll just put a delivery date, my ship to. It already had my GL code. I can put maybe my branch or department, and then I'll submit it. And if I go back, there's the one I just submitted. So with inventory, you get alerts when you're running low. So this way you don't have to worry about anything. Now, when you're taking items in and out, this is actually going to be on a phone app for you as well. But you can issue items out. You can move them from one location to another. You're just going to say what the items are, from what location or project or whatever you need. And you can even say where it went to. So, took out for another project. Complete the transaction. It'll take it out of inventory and update your stock numbers. Now, when you have computers, a nice thing with that is you could come in here and issue out of inventory. Let's see. Let's take one of these out. From the location, okay, you're going to take one out and say, I'm going to issue this to Kathy. And you can even put a note over here as a new hire. This way, when you take that computer out and give it to someone, you know where it is. Now, say Kathy left and you're putting it back, you can put that back into inventory as well. So this way, you know where your stock is. Or if computers are, at their age that they're no longer, working as well as they should, you're going to need to, order some new ones. You can actually run a report on all the computers, take those out of inventory, and then when you get your new ones, put the new ones in. It'll always give you a transaction history here of what is going on. So when items were moved, issued out, who did it? Maybe it was for waste. The object was obsolete. So you have a lot of different things that you can do with your inventory here to make sure that you're always keeping track of everything. Now, to close out the process, you're actually invoices. Now, some of those people, this is probably an important part, even if you don't connect to anything, to close it out so that you close out the PO line. So again, we have filters. They're on every page. So let's go to one of the ones we were just working on. So notice I have match invoice buttons next to most of these, and then I had a couple lines that don't. Well, that just means that right now I only partially received it. I'm still waiting on the additional items. So I haven't received those yet, which means I shouldn't get an invoice yet. That's how the system tells you. So let's match this Dell one up. All you're going to do is hit match invoice. It'll give you your PO number and what you owe the vendor. You can put in an invoice number and date if you like. It's not required. You can also put on here, maybe it was paid on a credit card, so put is paid. Or if you don't want to send this, if you have QuickBooks, you don't want to send this specific line to it, you don't have to. You can always upload a copy of the invoices if you want. But the only thing you're looking at is right here. This is what you received so far. This is what should be on your invoice. Now, this would be where you would make any last-minute changes. So, for example, like maybe the account was different and you needed to change that, or you wanted to put that grant or project or program in there. Make those changes so that your reporting is correct. And then all you'll do is come up here and submit. That creates your three-way match. I've just closed out the PO lines that I've received. Now, if you do have QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop, you could come into Setup and Configuration here and use our integration. You could send that invoice data over into QuickBooks. They'll go over as the bill to be paid. You'll pay them as you normally do, and you're finished. Now, the nice thing about having the systems connected like that is if you put in any new accounts, terms, vendors, customers, or classes in QuickBooks, when you sync this, could be each day or each week, it'll put the new ones into Bellwether. Now, if you have a different accounting system other than QuickBooks, Desktop, or online, that's okay. We do have an API that you can use to pull this data out and put into any other system. And actually, with the API, you can pull any data out that you need to. Now, the last thing I wanted to cover here is reports. We build reports in a couple different areas to make it easier. Here's a couple in the requisitions. So you can actually run these by whatever you need. And you can specifically run them by like items, things like that. I know computers are a big one. We also have them in the purchase order section here. But in addition, we have a report writer, which means we're going to show you how to put new reports together here. And then you can save them and edit the dates and rerun the reports whenever you need to. Now, also with our system too, we do provide complete setup as well as complete training. We record all the training, but we build into the system these little need help buttons. So if somebody forgot how to do a requisition, an approval, a PO, etc., every single screen has videos and verbiage to walk you through it. In addition to that, right up here in our support button here, there's additional videos, and you'll have a full support team as well. You can contact support here or give them a call. So that concludes the video for going through the solution. We definitely would love to help you out. So please let us know, if there's anything we can help you out with on the purchase ordering inventory side, give us a call. Thank you.